What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I hope you're all keeping wonderfully well. The inter-county football season is officially over. It is all done and dusted. We know our winners in the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship, the Tailteann Cup, and all the provincial championships as well. And here we go then. The club season, before we know it, is right here, right now. And what's even more crazy is you have some club championships that have already started. In fact, you've even got some club finals this weekend. You've got club hurling finals happening this weekend. It's absolutely nuts. And I'm still not too sure what to make of the split season. I'm going to make my full judgment on it, I think, once we kind of experience it fully to see what it's basically like. But generally speaking, the fact that club championships have just been thrown upon us literally almost like what feels like days after the All-Ireland, it is a bit crazy. But nonetheless, we're here today to discuss the All-Ireland Senior Club Football Championship. And as we very well know, 32 club senior football championships at senior level and 32 teams progress into the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship provincial systems. We then have 4 provincial winners. We then have a winner of the All-Ireland. That's right, in this video I'm going to be predicting every club championship winner from every county senior football championship, and I'm going to be predicting the provincial winners and also my All-Ireland winner. Now, it sounds absolutely mental, and it is absolutely mental, because here we are in August, and yeah, this is absolutely crazy. And look, this is just going to be a bit of fun, okay? I don't know everything about every club championship. In fact, I know very little. In fact, before you already go and write it in the comments, I know absolutely nothing. So there you go. That's very much that sort of. No, look, this is just going to be a bit of crack, a bit of fun. We're just, consider this quick picks for the club championships, and then we'll pick 4 provincial winners and we'll pick an All-Ireland winner for the crack. I may change my mind. I'm not bound to this absolute decision that I'm going to make in terms of a prediction. I can change my mind, which makes life very easy for me. But we are going to be predicting the club football championship winners from every county senior football championship. This is going to be absolutely crazy. Do let me know down in the comments down below your county and your favourites for your own county football championship. As I said before, this is just a bit of a mess, and I don't know I don't know all the details from every county championship, but I have done a bit of research, I have looked a bit into it, and there are some championships that I would be very familiar with, including the Dublin Senior Football Championship. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. It is also worth pointing out before we get into the video as well, we are going in alphabetical order, province by province. So we'll start off with all the counties from Ulster, and then we'll work our way through province by province in alphabetical order. I forgot to say that in the video, so just a quick little note from me here. But yeah, let's get back to, well, me again. Here comes Cregan, won it last year in a famous win, beating St Mary's by 8 points and claiming their first Antrim Senior Football Championship in 67 years. That's a long ass time, and I'm sure Kickham's Cregan, I'm sure there was some amount of beer that was drank after that win, and there may be a bit of a hangover going into this year's championship. The championship has been dominated by Erin's own Cargan, who won 5 of the last 7 championships, including a couple of final wins against Kickham. St Mary's Ahagallen are an interesting one because last year they made the final for the very first time, and maybe that might spring them on. You do have a notable Rory McCann on the Kickham's team though, and having broken that voodoo last year, I think I'm going to back them again, to be perfectly honest. 67 years wait was huge, and look, I'm sure there might be a bit of a hangover there, but Antrim were knocked out of the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship quite early, and we're obviously knocked out of the Tailteann Cup quite early, so you would expect a lot of those senior lads to be back in the side. So yeah, Cregan's Kickham's a famous win last year, and they're going to do so once again in 2022. In a similar fashion to Kickham's Cregan, Clan Éireann are fresh off winning a first Armagh Senior Football Championship for the first time in a long time, this time being 58 years, with players such as Conor Turba, Tiernan Kelly and Jack Conlon. It was a memorable year, beating the year-on-year favourites, that is Crossmaglen Rangers, by 2 points. And from speaking with Sean Casey from the Sideline Eye podcast, very reputable source for all things Armagh GAA, I remember him saying that this Clan Éireann side have a lot of underage success, and last year was undoubtedly a huge moment in their development. To get that win over Crossmaglen, absolutely huge. However, you do look at the stars in that Crossmaglen side. I mean, you have the trio O'Neills, Rian, Connor, Usheen. You've got James Morgan, Keane McConville, veterans such as Aaron Kernan. Like Crossmaglen, they're always the favourites in Armagh in the Armagh Senior Football Championship because of their history and because of what they've achieved. And they haven't won a county title since 2019. Mahery actually claimed it in 2020, and I'm sure they'll be there or thereabouts this year as well. But it's a tough one. I just have a sneaky feeling about Crossmaglen though. Ramor United picked up the title last year after a replay versus Gaona, just their second senior football championship since 1992. Crosserlock, I'm sure, will want to come back after last year though. They won the title in 2020. And you know what? I'm going to back Crosserlock on this one because I think Ramor United might be a bit of a hangover there. Crosserlock, why not? Let's go with them. So in the Derry Senior Football Championship then, it is just between, well, it's mainly going to be between two teams in my opinion. That is Slot Neil, who've been the usual suspects, although it was Watty Graham's Glen who delivered last year. And what's interesting is you look at the inter-county stars on either one of these two teams. I mean, Slot Neil have the likes of Chrissy McCaig, Shane McGuigan, Brendan Rogers, and Watty Graham's Glen have Connor Glass, Emmett Bradley and Kieran McFell. Yeah, I'm not sure Kieran McFell is going to be playing for Watty Graham's Glen anytime soon by the looks of this. But yeah, I don't know, you never know. But anyways, back to the video. Slot Neil have been very focused on hurling. They are very much a dual club, and sometimes that can hold them back a little bit in terms of football, or you know, if they get knocked out of one championship, I think it's likely sometimes they put more of a focus into a different championship, and maybe Slot Neil have been eyeing up the All-Ireland Senior Hurling, All-Ireland Senior Club Hurling Championship. But look, I'm going to give Slot Neil, you know, I think they've got a lot of great players, but I think Watty Graham's Glen, for me, having won it last year, having broken that duck, with Connor Glass in as good as form as ever. There are some question marks over Malachy O'Rourke. He's been linked with a lot of inter-county jobs at the minute, so we don't know what's going to happen with him. But I'm going to go with Watty Graham's Glen. St Eunan's delivered a first senior championship in 8 years last season under the inspiration of the O'Donnells, Shane O'Donnell and Conor O'Donnell. There's a lot of O'Donnells in St Eunan's, put it that way. Could Glens Willie come back with the likes of Michael Murphy in there, potentially, you know, getting to the swan song of his career? And could Glens Willie very much put up a late fight in potentially winning the Donegal Senior Football Championship? The Donegal Championship is quite open though. I mean, you have Go Dobber, Navy Cunnell, Kilcar. There's a lot of kind of good suspects in there, and a lot of different teams who are usually there or thereabouts season on season. I am going to back Kilcar though. I just think with players like Paddy McBrearty, Ryan and Mark McHugh, Connor Doherty, I think they have the quality. And I'm also going to say St Eunan's, whilst they did win it last year and it was a huge achievement, and actually they came very close to beating Watty Graham's Glen in the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship, I just think Kilcar have been knocking on the door year on year, and I have watched a bit of the Donegal Senior Football Championship here and there, and I think with McBrearty, with a lot of these lads who will be, I think, fresh coming into this championship, they'll be gunning to win this tournament. So yeah, I'm going to back Kilcar. I wonder who's going to win this one. I mean, there's one team you might have heard of. They're called Kilcoo. Yeah, the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Champions last year. And not only that, they've won 9 of the last 10 down Senior Football Champions. And as we very well know, as I just said, the current Ulster Champions and the current All-Ireland Champions. You have Ryan Johnston, you have Sheelan Johnston, you have the Brannigans. Mickey Moran has since retired, and Conlick Gilligan and Richard Thornton have taken over as joint managers. That's going to be interesting, alright. Mickey Moran, of course, as we very well know, a legend of the GAA. He retired last season following Kilcoo's All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship success. So it is going to be interesting to see how those managers get on. And Kilcoo, to be fair to them, actually have had a few close run-ins in this championship in the past while. I mean, it's not like they've had it easy. Carryduff, St Mary's, Burren, Warren's Point have all came close the last couple of seasons. So it hasn't been straightforward for Kilcoo. It's not like they've won every year in the Down Senior Football Championship with absolute ease. I mean, at times they've been pushed to extra time. At times they've had to go to replays. So, like, it hasn't been easy for Kilcoo. And to be honest, I do think Kilcoo are beatable this year. And you do wonder if they'll have some type of hangover, maybe something similar to what happened with the Tyrone with Tyrone's inter-county side last year, having won the All-Ireland. But as we very well know, the vast majority of Kilcoo's players do not play for the county. I think that gives them a big advantage, in my opinion, because it means they'll be coming into this championship absolutely fresh. They'll all have probably played during the league, and the management would have got used to them and probably knows their best starting 15 already. So, look, as I said, I do think Kilcoo are beatable going into Ulster and going into the All-Ireland, but I am going to back them to get out of Down. Much like Kilcoo, Derry Gunley Harps are the dominant force here, having won 6 of the last 7 county titles, with a Derny, the team who won it in 2020. Not going to lie, the knowledge isn't really here when it comes to the Fermanagh Senior Football Championship, so I'm probably just going to pick the easy option in Derry Gunley Harps. I did like the look of them in the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship last year as well. They reached obviously the final and produced some big results, including that win over Dromore. You've obviously got the likes of Conal Jones, Ryan Jones, so very good side. So we'll stick with Derry Connolly. It is the safe bet. Derry Gunley Harps, Fermanagh Champions 2022. In a similar fashion to both Kilcoo and Derry Gunley Harps, the last 2 sides that we mentioned in Monaghan, it is very similar again, because Scottstown very much similar to that, having won 6 of the last 7 county titles with stars such as Rory Beggan, Kieran and Darren Hughes and Conor McCarthy. Scottstown have been very comfortable in Monaghan, and actually in a different kind of way to Kilcoo, who've often struggled at times getting through Down. Scottstown a lot of the time have put up some big scores coming through the Monaghan Club Senior Football Championship. Clontarf O'Neill's might be a threat with Conor McManus in there, but I'm going to stick with Scottstown. They've been fairly dominant over the last couple of years, and as I said, they've usually won a lot of finals with a bit to spare, and that usually tells me that they, you know, are the dominant force in this by quite a distance. So yeah, Scottstown to come through Monaghan. So the last 3 club football championships we spoke about a dominant side sort of winning 5-6 in a row. We're winning a vast majority of county titles over the last 7 to 8 years. In Tyrone, it is very much the opposite. Actually, as a matter of fact, there have been 10 different winners in this championship since 2011. With Tyrone having been knocked out of the All-Ireland early on, I expect a lot of its county stars to be on show quite early on. Dromore are the current champions, and expect to see the very best of Niall Sludden and the McNabs, whether it be the Lizard one or the Magpie one or whatever they're calling themselves down there these days. Honestly though, I am going to be honest. Obviously, I just said honestly. Yeah, you have a lot of teams here that potentially could win this championship, and it is very, very hard to call. I mean, you have Tralee, you've Dungannon, Killyclogger, Coal Island. I mean, so many teams will feel they can win this, including last year's club champions in Dromore. But the team I'm going to go for is a little bit left field, and that is Errigal Kieran. And the reason why I'm going to back them is I did watch a good bit of the Tyrone Senior Football Championship last year, even though they do try and charge you about 20 quid per game, which is quite steep. Us Dubs, actually, would you believe, we actually put our games up on YouTube for free, probably because we don't need the money. We've got plenty of that down here. We actually don't, to be honest, although a lot of people do, but anyways, Errigal Kieran, they have the likes of Dara and Rory Canavan in their ranks, Peter Hart as well. So, you know, and it's been a while since Errigal Kieran won this. They've been a sort of up and coming team. You've seen the success of, you know, Rory Canavan and how good he is at under 20 level for Tyrone this year. So yeah, I fancy Errigal Kieran to come through Tyrone. So it's really between three teams here in my opinion, and that's the current champions Mountbelly Moylock, the 2020 champions Moycullen, and the team that we are all familiar with, having watched them dominate the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship, and that is Corofin. Kevin Johnson comes in as manager, with Kevin O'Brien having left. Johnson led Thurlestrane to the Sligo Senior Football Championship last season. So it's interesting. With Mountbelly and Moylock, you obviously have the likes of Owen and Robert Finnerty, who've done very well in there. Moycullen have plenty of good stars and plenty of notable footballers in their team as well. Corofin, on the other hand side, interestingly enough, a lot of their players in their side don't actually play with the Galway County side. You think of Ian Burke, Martin Farragher, Michael Farragher, these lads. You do obviously have Kieran Malloy, Liam Silk, two very notable players who do play with the Galway senior footballing county side. But look, I'm going to back Corofin to get over the line here. They've lost the last two county titles. They're coming in with a new manager, fresh ideas. You know, maybe things just went a little bit stale with Kevin O'Brien towards the end. You know, I remember that final against Mountbelly Moylock, and they were very, very flat, and they took a long time to get going. So, do you know what though? I'm going to give Corofin the edge though. I think it's early days yet to be saying whether they're back to their absolute best, but I'm going to give them the edge here, and I think Corofin are going to be Galway champions. Ballinamore Sean O'Heslin's won in a stunning 2021 Leitrim Senior Football Championship, beating Mohill by 2 points. But I'm actually going to go with Mohill on this one, and the main reason being is I have family from there. My granddad was from there, and I've always had a soft spot for Mohill. It actually, this has no footballing reason whatsoever, but I'm going to be honest, I have absolutely zero knowledge on the Leitrim Senior Football Championship. I do know Ballinamore Sean O'Heslin's, the likes of Tom Pryor in there. Like, they do have a lot of very good players, to be fair, and this is probably a bit of a wild prediction, but do you know what? Life was made for bold predictions, so Mohill will win the Leitrim Championship. Yeah, I haven't a clue about this one, to be honest. All I do know is St. Kieran's looked good last year when they played Thurlestrane in the Connacht Club Championship. They nearly actually beat them. Yeah, I've no idea. I guess we'll just go with St. Kieran's again. Goodell Mayo. Well, to be fair, I actually have watched a good bit of Mayo Senior Football Championship games down the years, mainly because a lot of the followers on this channel are actually mostly Mayo fans, which is something I still don't know why. But look, Knockmore have won the last two titles and have a host of young players such as Aidan Orme, Conal Dempsey, Pierce Rutledge, and they do have veterans such as Kevin McLaughlin and Darren McHale. Could Knockmore go on and dominate the Mayo Club Senior Football Championship scene? Let me know in the comments down below. Could Ray Dempsey potentially be going in as Mayo Senior Football Manager, which could leave Knockmore needing a new manager by the time the Club Championship comes around? So there is a bit of a worry there maybe that Knockmore mightn't be ready for this year's Club Championship, especially if they don't have a manager. So there's some interesting sort of permutations there. Brafey have lots of inter-county stars but can't seem to get over the line. Brafey always sort of remind me of Ballymun here in Dublin. They've a lot of some of the best inter-county stars. You look at their team on paper, you look at their starting 15 and you think, how on earth are they not more successful? How on earth are they not competing for, you know, provincial titles, let alone county titles? But whatever we know, and as we do know, sometimes because of these because of the county sides getting so far in the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship, it does mean a lot of these players are injured and broken and bruised by the time the club championships come around and can't quite commit. But with the fact that Mayo were knocked out in the All-Ireland quarter-finals, could that maybe leave the O'Sheas, Robbie Henley, some of the other lads maybe to come into Brafey, you know, without injuries? And could Brafey maybe potentially finally break their duck in Mayo? You do also have Ballina, Stephen Ites, who have been improving year on year. Belmullet, under the guidance of a starlet known as Ryan O'Donoghue, looked very good last year in getting to the final. But I'm going to stick with Knockmore. I think they are a very young side. They're improving year on year, and I do think they'll have enough. I don't think Ray Dempsey will become the Mayo manager, to be honest. So I think he'll stay on with Knockmore, and I think Knockmore will get over the line in Mayo. Turlestrand have dominated this since 2015, and honestly, I don't see anything changing, to be honest. I'm not sure who their new manager is going to be, but when you look through some of Turlestrand's county title wins in the last couple of seasons, I mean, they've absolutely dominated some of the finals, to be perfectly honest, just looking at some of the scores. So, again, a bit like Leitrim, the knowledge isn't really here, to be honest, but from having watched Turlestrand's time, you know, a couple of times in the All-Ireland series and everything else, they look like a very drilled, very well organised, and a very hard team to beat. They actually very nearly beat Knockmore in the Connacht Club Senior Football Championship last year, so Turlestrand are going to be Sligo champions. Padraig Pearse has won this last year and looked very good in doing so. Very well set up defensively. You've got the Dailies, Paul Carey's a very tricky corner forward. You do have Clan Gael in St. Bridget's, who have been thereabouts in the last couple of seasons, winning the odd county title or so themselves. And St. Bridget's, we very well know, once they get out of Connacht, tend to do very well. In fact, when they got out of Connacht, I think it was in 2013, they went on to beat Ballymun in the final. So, you know, there are teams in Roscommon who have a habit of doing well once they get out of or once they get out of Roscommon. You've seen Padraig Pearse win the Connacht Club Senior Football Championship last year as well. So I think Padraig Pearse have been building something in the last couple of seasons. They won the county title in 2019 as well. You know, they have a very, very well organised side. They know their drill. Very hard to beat. They might not always be the most exciting to watch, but I am going to back Padraig Pearse to get over the line in Roscommon once again. Aero Guinness were the champions last year, with Gavin Cooney and David Reid being two of the more notable players. I am going to go for something left field though and go for Cratloe, and the reason why I'm doing so, I actually have no reason whatsoever, to be honest.
What? What the fuck?
Why not go for someone a little bit different? They haven't won it in a while, and you know what, in every club championship, at senior level, intermediate level, junior level, you always have a team that comes out of nowhere. I'm just going to pick them. Why not? Now this is interesting because you have a lot of sides here that have a real chance, in my opinion. You have St. Finbarrs, Nemo Rangers, Clonakilty, Castlehaven, all teams that will fancy a crack. I mean, Finbarrs were in support form last year with Sherlock up top and McGuire in midfield. I mean, they're a solid team. I'm going to go with Nemo Rangers though, and I think a lot of those lads who haven't been involved with the county last year, they have a lot of players who haven't been involved with the county last year. You think of Luke Connolly, Mark Cronin as well, and I just think they're going to want to come back better than ever, quicker than ever after what happened last year and after the disappointment of last year. They've been such a dominant side in the Premier Cork Senior Football Championship, as they call it, over the last couple of years, or just the Premier Cork Football Championship, I think they call it. And I think Nemo Rangers are going to want to get back to the top, and I think they will. I think they'll do it. I think Finbarrs are going to be a very tough test, especially with the form of Sherlock last year and Ian McGuire, but it's been a long year for those lads. You know, they went quite far, obviously, in the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship, and they were very well involved with Cork all the way up until the All-Ireland quarter-finals. So, yeah, I'm going to back Nemo Rangers for this one. So Kerry's a little bit different because, well, they like being a little bit different, don't they? And they have two club championships down here. So you have the Club Football Championship, or the Club Senior Football Championship, whatever you want to call it, and then you also have the County Championship. And the reason why they have two different championships is because there is so many clubs in Kerry, and what they're allowing is, by making the County Championship, they're giving basically the chance for every player in Kerry to compete for the County Championship, which is the top honour in Kerry football. That is why you have divisional sides such as East Kerry, Mid Kerry, South Kerry, all these different teams. But the only difference is, because these teams are divisional sides, they can't compete in the All-Ireland Club Football Championship. Hence why sides like East Kerry and everything else look very, very good, because they have a lot of players from different clubs. And yeah, hopefully I've broke that down, but anyway, here we go. So in terms of the Club Football Championship, I'm going to go with Kenmare Shamrocks. Sean O'Shea has been in excellent form all year. He's been absolutely extraordinary. He mightn't feature for Kenmare as much in the early rounds, which potentially could maybe leave them open to a bit of a shock. But I have kept an eye on the Kerry Club Championships over the last couple of seasons, and Kenmare have got very close. They've got to a couple of finals, semi-finals. They've had a couple of big results and a couple of big wins here and there. So I think Kenmare Shamrocks are going to have enough, beat Austin Stacks in the process, and achieve something quite magical. I don't like divisional sides, as I said before, mainly because they can't go into the provincial club championships because it's obviously not fair. I mean, they're not a club, so it doesn't make sense. But yeah, for that reason, I don't really like divisional sides a lot of the time. But I think you look at East Kerry and the team that they have, of David Clifford, of Paddy Clifford, the talent that they have all across the pitch, in Darragh Moynihan in there as well. I mean, they have a tremendous amount of players, and I mean, can Austin Stacks, Cairns O'Rahilly's, Dr. Croaks, can any of these stop East Kerry? Maybe not. I know East Kerry were beaten by Austin Stacks last year, and speaking of Austin Stacks, I mean, they had a very, very good season, winning both club championships or both sort of big championships in Kerry. Got to a Munster Club Championship final as well. You look at the talent that they have in there, in the likes of Joe O'Connor around the middle, Dylan Casey at the back. Could we see Kieran Donaghy potentially still out there on the field? There's a lot of permutations there, but I'm going to go for East Kerry. I haven't a notion here now, to be honest. I haven't a notion. An ocean or an ocean, I'm not sure. But I'll tell you what, let's go with it there to win the Limerick Club Senior Football Championship. I know Newcastle West won it last year, and they do have a notable Ian Corbett in their ranks, but Adair did win the 2020 Club Senior Football Championship by 15 points in the final. I mean, what a result. I mean, who on earth were they playing in that final? But yeah, let's go with Adair to upset the bandwagon of Newcastle West. Loughmore Castleiney had their own fairy tale story last season in both football and hurling, to be fair, with John the Goat McGrath digging them out time and time again. But I do think Clonmel Commercials are the better side. You look at some of the players in their team: Mickey Quinlivan, Sean O'Connor, Coleman Kennedy, all three very notable inter-county stars. So I'm going to back Clonmel Commercials. I do think they have a very good side. I think they were probably just a little bit unlucky maybe to not come through that final last year. So I'm going to back them to get the better of Loughmore Castleiney. I do think everyone kind of cheers for Loughmore though for some reason. I think they're just such a fairy tale team, but I'm going to go for Clonmel. Jesus, I mean, I haven't a clue. I mean, this probably is. Let's go with Rathcormac. They were beaten in the last two finals. Revenge is sweet. They're going to get it right this time. I mean, this is another one that, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to skip a few of these, but that wouldn't really be fair, would it? And in case there was any Carlow fans watching, they wouldn't be too happy, but to be fair, they probably wouldn't want to watch this anyway, so yeah, don't recommend them. Rathvilly broke their duck last year, winning it for the first time since 2014, ending the Air Oak dominance. However, Palatine have come very close in the last couple of seasons, and I'm going to go for something a bit left field, and I'm going to back them, because they've come very close the last couple of seasons. They've been there or thereabouts, they've been knocking on the door, and I think Rathvilly last year, while it was a huge achievement, I think maybe, just maybe, they're going to get caught this year, and I'm going to go for Palatine. So here we go then, the Dublin Senior Football Championship, and this is a championship that I feel I know quite a bit on, to be fair, from having followed it over the last couple of years. So here we go then. Here is my prediction for the Dublin Senior Football Championship. I'll tell you what, you know what? Let's have a shortly more in-depth prediction for this one. So let's throw the group stages or the group tables up on the screen right there. So Group 1, you've got Temple Ballantyre St John's, Kilmacud Crokes and Raheny. Crokes and Raheny are coming through that one. Group 2, Ballymun Kickham's, Clontarf, St Enda's and Coola. I'm going to go for Ballymun and Coola to come through that one. Yes, that's right. I'm going for something a little bit different there in not backing Ballyboden to break through, which might be a bit of a shock. But I do think Coola are dark horses, and I don't think Ballymun will win it this year as much as I want them to win it, but I do think they'll come close. You have Thomas Davis, Nafina, St Jude's, and Skerries Harps in Group 3. I'm going to go for Nafina and Jude's to get out of that one. Group 4, you have Luke and Sarsfield's Castleknock, Round Towers Lusk, and Whitehall Colmkill. I'm going to back Castleknock and Whitehall Colmkill to get out of that one. As I said, I want Ballymun-Kickham's to win it. I want a north side team to win it, to be honest, being from the north side of Dublin. And some of my most favourite Dublin players play for Ballymun-Kickham's: James McCarthy, Dean Rock, Paddy Small, John Small. You look at their side, Evan Comerford's in there as well, for example. They've so much talent all across the pitch. But what Ballymun have struggled with a lot of the time in the last couple of seasons is, as we said with Brafey earlier in the Mayo Club Senior Football Championship, so many of the players have been tied up with the county side that they haven't been able to play for the club team. And when they do come back for the club team, they're sort of disorganised because Ballymun have been playing throughout the league with a completely different team. So it upsets the dynamic a little bit. That's why in 2020, when they won the county championship, there was a lockdown, so there was no players weren't coming off the back of sort of long layoffs or anything like that. So look, I want Ballymun to win it. I think they have a lot of serious quality. I think Nafina could be thereabouts this year. They have a very young team. Owen Merchant's in there, although he does have his injury problems. They've been a team people have been expecting to potentially break through. Whitehall and Colmkill could be potentially dark horses. I think Coola could be dark horses with Con O'Callaghan in there. But I think Kilmacud Crokes just have too much. I mean, you've got Paul Mannion in there. You've now potentially got Shane Walsh in there, which is absolutely crazy. I know a lot of people have kind of given their 2 cents on that one. Personally, I don't see any issue with it whatsoever. If he works and lives in Dublin, he should be able to play club football in Dublin. And if he's good enough to play senior football, he should be playing senior football. I just don't see what the big issue is. Now, if he does go and play for Dublin, then fair enough, we have a problem. We do have a problem there. I mean, us Dubs, we won't have any problems, but even in the spirit of the GAA, I do think it would be a little bit strange. But yeah, Shane Walsh in one corner, Paul Mannion in another. You've got great club players like Dan O'Brien. Craig Diaz is very good around the middle. Yeah, I just think Kilmacud Crokes have too much, to be honest. I don't want them to win it, mainly because of how big of a club that they are. And I'd like to see another club from Dublin fly our colours in the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship. But there's no disputing Kilmacud Crokes. They're serious favourites for the Dublin Senior Football Championship and the All-Ireland. Naas won it last year and have a serious team in the likes of Dara Kirwan, Alex Byrne and Owen Doyle. It was their first county senior football championship in 31 years, and despite Sarsfield and Moorfield breathing down their neck, I'm gonna stick with them. I think with Dara Kirwan in there, Owen Doyle, Alex Byrne, getting through the Kildare Senior Football Championship last year was a huge moment for Naas, and having got to a Leinster final as well, I think that will give them the ammunition that they need to get even better this year. And let's not forget, Dara Kirwan had a couple of injury issues with Kildare this year, and I do think he's going to be fit and ready by the time this club championship comes around. In fact, some of these club championships have actually already started, so yeah, a little bit strange there, but I do think we will see Naas pull through in Kildare. Port Arlington have started to dominate this, having won the last 2 titles and very convincingly. And yeah, when you look at some of the scorelines of Port Arlington in their Laois Senior Football Championship in the last couple of seasons, you see the talent levels and you see just how well they look in the Laois Senior Football Championship. And look, there's been a couple of people that have been tipping them to do a little bit more maybe in the Leinster Club Senior Football Championship this year. I did hear a lot of them lads are going travelling this year. I'm not too sure how true that is. I have heard maybe a lot of those lads won't be playing in the senior team for Port Arlington this year. I don't really know, but I'm going to back them, to be honest. I think they'll have enough. I mean, Mullinachta are the team to be here. With Keane Mackey, Rian Brady, these type of lads. I mean, that defeat to Blessington in the Leinster Club Championship last year, it would have hurt them. It was a tough defeat, but I think Mullinachta will have enough. Naomh Martins have been the top dogs here in the last couple of seasons, and there is no surprises when you have a player like Samuel Roy in your ranks. You have experience of JP Rooney as well, who's another famous Louth footballer. You probably have two of the greatest Louth footballers of all time, both playing in different eras for their county side, but actually both playing for the same club. It is actually a very interesting dynamic. Jim McGuinness was, funny enough, involved in some capacity with Naomh Martin back in 2020. I don't know if he still is or that's been kept under wraps. I don't know. But what I do know is that Naomh Martin have a very, very good team. So I'm going to back them to come through the Louth Senior Football Championship. Wolf Tones won it last year, which was huge because it was their first since 2006. And Ratoath won the two previous. Summerhill have been close in the last couple of years as well, but I am going to back Ratoath. You look at some of the inter-county stars in there, and Joey Wallace, Brian McMahon, Conor McGill. I think they're going to retain their title, or what I should say is I think they're going to win back the title that they lost last year to Wolf Tones. I think they have enough. So yeah, I'm going to go with Ratoath. Fermanagh Road have been two of the top clubs in Offaly in recent memory, but last year it was actually Tullamore who broke their duck, winning a first Offaly Senior Football Championship since 2013 when they beat Road by 2 points. And it probably is between Tullamore and Road, and I do know this championship has already very much started, and Tullamore and Road very much leading the way according to the bookies' odds and according to various articles that I've read. In Tullamore you have the young guns in Cormac Egan, John Furlong, but in Road you have the veterans of the McNamees as well as Niall Darby. So it's interesting. You've got the veterans of Offaly against some of the young guns in Offaly. But do you know what? I'm going to go for Road to get through in this one. I think with the form that I've seen Niall McNamee in this year for Offaly, I think he is going to be crucial for this Road side. So yeah, I think it's going to be a step too far this time around for Tullamore, and I'm going to go for Road. I mean, St. Lomans all day are going to win this one. I mean, just listen to some of the names I'm going to read out to you. John Heslin, Ronan O'Toole, Sam McCartan, Jason Daly in goal, even Fola Ayerinde, great player coming off the bench and a great player for the future. I mean, John Heslin and Ronan O'Toole have been exceptional for Westmeath this year in the Tailteann Cup. You're talking about two of Westmeath's best forwards. You've got Sam McCartan, who's one of their leading midfielders. I just think St. Lomans have this one all day long. Gary Castle has very much been a changing of the guard there. I would love to see Athlone up there, given my family connections from there, but I do think St. Lomans surely are going to have too much and win this one. Shelmaliers won the Wexford Senior Football Championship last season, and that was a big moment for Shelmaliers, and they looked fairly good as well, to be fair, in the Leinster Club Senior Football Championship. Actually, as a matter of fact, they took Naas to extra time and nearly beat them. With the likes of Owen Nolan and Glenn Malone in there, I'm going to back Shelmaliers to get the job done again. Once again, my knowledge of the Wexford Senior Football Championship is basically zero, but I'm going to go with Shelmaliers. You do have Blessington on the rise, who won the county title last year. Ratnew have usually been sort of the dominant side, and for a couple of years they've took a couple of years off really the last couple of seasons winning it, but do you know what? I think with their domination they're going to get back and win it. I've no idea why. Again, no knowledge, very little knowledge in this championship, to be perfectly honest, but why not? Why not Ratnew? Yeah, they're going to get back up there. Or maybe Newtown will win it. I don't know. So in terms of my provincial club winners then, I'm going to back Kilmacud Crokes to come through Leinster. I just don't see anyone else really beating them, to be honest, in Leinster. You know, I think Naas might come close, and they might be thereabouts. I think St. Lomans have got a big potential to really topple Kilmacud Crokes. But I think if Crokes get through Dublin, and they do have Walsh, which I very much expect, potentially the transfer could have gone through by the time you're watching this video. Yeah, so it does look like Shane Walsh maybe won't be going to Kilmacud Crokes after all. A big dispute between him and his club and everything else, and just all sorts of chaos going on. But even without Shane Walsh, I still think Kilmacud Crokes have a formidable team, to be honest. So I think Crokes will come through Leinster. I think Nemo Rangers will have enough to come through Munster. we don't know the entire story with Kerry, obviously with the divisional sides in there, so there's a lot of if, buts and maybes in terms of who comes through the Kerry Club Senior Football Championship, but I'm going to go with Nemo Rangers to get out of Munster. In Connacht, I'm going to go with Padraig Pearses again. I just think they have a bit more metal, a bit more physicality around their team. The Dailies are very good. Paul Carey, just a very well organised side, and I think they frustrate a lot of those sides in the Connacht Club Football Championship because of their sort of overly defensive structure. I think Knockmore have a lot of potential to win it, but I'm just not too sure they're quite there yet. So I'm going to go with Padraig Pearses to get through. And I think Corofin, whilst I do think they'll come through Galway, I'm just not too sure the quality is quite the same as what it was in the last couple of seasons. So yeah, I'm going to back Padraig Pearses. The Ulster Club Football Championship is an absolute minefield, and I mean, you've Scottstown, are a team that I've backed a lot of the time over the last couple of seasons, but have let me down. You've Kilcuan there, who are the current All-Ireland champions. Glen look very good. Crossmaglen are a very famous name. You have the potential, you have whoever comes through Tyrone, which I think will be Errigal Kieran. It's an absolute nightmare to predict, especially at this stage. I mean, an absolute crazy person to predict this now, but do you know what? I'm going to go with Glen, and it's a left field prediction. It's a little bit different. As I said, I think Kilcue last year looked very beatable in my opinion at different times. I know they still went on to win the All-Ireland, but there were times when they looked beatable, and I just think Glen with Conor Glass, Kieran McFell, will Malachy O'Rourke stay on? That's the big question, but I still think they'll have enough regardless of that. So I'm going to go for Glen. In terms of my All-Ireland pick then, I think it's between Glen and Kilmacud Crokes, but I'm going to go for Crokes. I think I've already explained why, to be perfectly honest. And I think you look at how close they were last year, losing in that final, losing through that last minute goal. I just think in a similar fashion to Kilcue when they lost in the 2020 All-Ireland Club Football Championship final, they're going to want to respond. And I think there's going to be a vengeance in Kilmacud Crokes to bounce back, and you'll see Mannion at his best. You'll see possibly Shane Walsh in there as well. Let's not forget, Mannion was injured for large parts for Kilmacud Crokes last year, and they still came within an absolute whisker. So yeah, Kilmacud Crokes for me are going to be my All-Ireland Club Football Championship winners. But anyway, lads, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Let me know down in the comments down below what were your picks for your counties Senior Football Championship. Who do you think will come through? Who do you think will win the Provincial Club Championships and the All-Ireland as well? Look, we will be doing more previews and everything else, and when the All-Ireland or when the Provincial Club Championships come around, we certainly will break them down in further detail. As I said, this video, just a bit of crack, just a bit of a laugh. Don't get too offended, don't get too stressed out. I don't know, do something fun, relax yourself. I don't really know. It sounds a bit weird what I'm saying, to be honest, but just do something fun if you get a bit stressed out with this video. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you all later.